Wandering Night, a low-vision view of the world. Solo on the North Country Trail. It's been 9 years since I planned a solo backpacking trip. That was my second great outdoor challenge, hiking across Scotland from Mallaig, I believe is the name of the village I started in. It's hard to remember the names sometimes in Scotland, to Stonehaven. Now, with the TGO challenge, yes, it was a solo trip, but I saw people pretty much every day. And sometimes I was hiking with them pretty much every day. With this trip to northern Michigan's Lower Peninsula, or I should say the northern part of the Lower Peninsula in Michigan, not only was this going to be a solo trip, but I expected it to be solitary. I didn't really expect to see any other backpackers, maybe a day hiker here and there. So something of a different kettle of fish. Hiking the North Country Trail, you have to stay on the trail. You've only got certain places you can find water and places you can camp and places you can't. So different issues to contend with. And I didn't really know how it was going to go. I had planned a trip that would fill in a big hole from Mackinaw City down to Fife Lake. And I hoped I would do it. This trip is full of highs, it's full of lows, and it's full of some frustration. It's also full of some great support. But in the end, I decided that once I got to Petowskey, that was far enough. I hope you enjoy the experiences you're about to hear. I figure that the bridge is perhaps 1,000 feet from here, maybe a little less. I'm in the Gary R. Witt Memorial Park. The bridge represents where the North Country Trail actually is. I actually got dropped off at the trailhead, but I decided to come to the water to try to find the trail at water's edge here at Lake Huron. And I've got a photo of me to prove that I'm standing at Lake Huron. And my foot got wet while the photo was being taken. So I dipped my toe, as it were, in the lake. Now I just have to find the official trail again and start hiking. Get over any nerves I've gotten. I do have nerves, even though it should be an easy 5-mile hike to French Farm Lake. I'd love to actually go all the way to a campground in Wilderness State Park. That's probably about 13 miles from here, and that might be just a little too ambitious today, even though it is only about noon. But I have to start sometime. I bought a new hat, so I left my little one at home. I bought fuel. Had to buy a lot more than I wanted to. I couldn't find just a little bottle of heat fuel. That's HEET. So I had to buy a quart of denatured alcohol, which is really about 3 times more fuel than I want. But that's the way it goes. Let's hope that it's the start of what should be a glorious day and a glorious hike. Maybe I've walked a quarter of a mile down this rail trail, which means I've got a bit over 1.25 miles probably to go on it before my next big junction. Hell, we're off. Not exactly wilderness here. But for a start, I'll take it. I should have actually done this when I got here. A little over an hour and a half ago, I think. I actually got to the general campsites here at French Farm Lake well before that. But then it took me a while to find a place I could use. And I'm not sure I'm actually in a totally proper place. But I think everything else is in use. What a day. I didn't get moving until late in the afternoon. And the first mile and a half on the rail trail was straightforward. And then, trouble. I could not, for the life of me, find the, I wonder what that was. Fish jumping? Maybe I'll do it again. But I eventually found the post, but I couldn't find where the trail went. And I didn't quite believe the events and maps. And I was just plain confused. And eventually, a runner went on by and she said the NCT was over there. And it was right over there. Very, very faint, very, very narrow, very hard to see for me. Most people would have seen the blue arrow and had no trouble. And then it was slow going on that section for at least a good mile. A few blowdowns. The trail's very narrow in many places. A lot of boardwalk, two-plank boardwalk, much of which probably should be repaired. I mean, for what it is, it's not in bad shape, I guess. Maybe it's seemed worse to me because I was feeling out of sorts. But I made it. Had some help from Andy far afield. He tried to give me some help, and it was helpful. At least him trying was helpful. And now I'm here, and I've been slowly getting camp ready, and that takes forever. I mean, you gotta get the food hung, you gotta make the water. I still haven't set my tent up. I haven't made dinner yet, but I'm not particularly hungry because I had such a late lunch. Camping's work. It's a lot of work. So right now, as I look out on French Farm Lake, my guess is that to me, as I look out in this totally clear blue sky, it doesn't really, probably won't look as good to you guys. Hopefully tomorrow will be better. It's a full moon tonight, and boy, oh boy, is it bright as it shines through the back of my tent. I did mean to go to sleep a little while ago. Certainly, I wanted to go to sleep before 10 p.m., and now it's creeping up on 11 p.m. Oh well. It's also too bad my tent isn't in line with, say, my food bag, because if it were, I could have had a lunar eclipse created by the food bag, which would have been a nice reminder of a trip about 19 years ago that I did in the Shenandoah National Park with Ron Richards. And although I've given it away, we could not for the life of us figure out why the moon seemed to be going into eclipse that night. At least it took us a little bit of time to realize it was rising past the food bags we had hung, and they were creating our own personal lunar eclipse. Well, hopefully I'll get to sleep soon. I'll get up at a reasonable hour tomorrow morning, make a nice breakfast, probably oatmeal, and then head on out and go to some campsite in Wilderness State Park, about 8.5 miles, I believe, from here. Well, I've forgotten several things. All of them small, but all irritating. For example, you will notice the audio isn't that great because I didn't bring the little microphone mount to go into the cold shoe that sits on the top of the tripod. And then you have irritating things like the fact that I had to buy a quart of denatured alcohol instead of just the little bottle of heat that I wanted to buy. And then this morning, although I was able in the hardware store to open it successfully, the safety cap didn't defeat me. This morning, I couldn't do it. So I had to puncture the cap with my knife to, and now I'm struggling with getting the silly stove back into its case. It's just not my morning so far. Hopefully my oatmeal is suitably steeping. Who knows? Maybe that's not working well either. Today we're going to go into Wilderness State Park and hope for the best and that I can find a good campsite. We'll just have to see what comes up. Any other little mistakes? Yesterday when I was filling water, I put dirty water in both my 1 liter collapsible bottles. That was dumb. It really means I probably shouldn't use them at all except for dirty water. I have the 1 liter clean smart water bottle. At least I think it's a liter. But it would have been nice to have had a little bit more. I don't have any chemicals with me. I just have the filter, so I can't really clean the collapsible bottles. Ouch. Well, bugs are out. I suppose I could pour boiling water into them, into one of them, and that would probably be sufficient. Let's hope for a good day. It's a nice morning. Probably about 60 degrees. I believe the low last night got into the low 50s. It's a little cloudier than yesterday. Yesterday was totally clear. Today has got some clouds going by. But should be a nice day. That's what the prediction is. And I've got about just under 9 miles to go to get to, I believe, the campsite I'm supposed to stay at in Wilderness State Park. I hope it's a good day. Because I need a good day to start building confidence, to encourage me that I'll be able to, yes, maybe be out here for 2 weeks by myself, going all the way beyond Kalkaska to the Fife Lake area, about 180 miles. But it's possible I may decide not to do that. I may decide to go only part way. We'll just have to see what the next few days hold. But for now, I'll sit here and I'll eat my breakfast and wonder where all the other campers are. I know there's at least a few other people camping here, but I have no idea where they are. Although I've seen some traffic on the road. Maybe they've gone into town or gone elsewhere. I hope that was picked up. Heard some loons last night. That sounds like a loon. Although, I suppose it could have been something else. It had a slight whippoorwilly quality to it, but I'm virtually certain it was a loon. And I've heard some woodpeckers, and there's some crows out. I don't think I've heard any cardinals or robins. You'd think they must be around, and of course, ever-present chickadee. And underneath it all, you probably can hear it. Seems like it must be out to the west of me. Is that west? Well, it's behind me. My brain shut down right now. I can't think directions. East is over there. It doesn't really matter. On the other side of the lake, there's clearly a major road. You can hear the traffic, hear cars or trucks beeping as they back up. Oh well. Enough. Time to finish breakfast and try to get on the trail at a reasonable hour. What a difference quality of trail makes on your enjoyment of things. French Farm Lake is off to my left. I think there's in fact, there must be almost certain a small dirt road off to the right. And easy trail, good footing, easy to see, a proper width, so much different than that mile or so between the rail trail and really the beginning of the French Farm Lake campsites area. You can hear the sounds of the campground, one of several campgrounds here in Wilderness State Park. And they have, if the signage is to believed, over 400 sites. I'm in site 242 in the Pines campground, and it took some doing to get here. What a day it's been. It started out pretty well. It's a lovely hike from French Farm Lake. You're hugging the shoreline for a little ways. The trail is good, easy to follow, generally level, just pretty. It's a nice pine forest. I think it's white pine, but I'm not good at telling white and red pine apart. Pretty forest. Eventually, though, you move away from the lake and are a bit more inland as you head towards Cecil Bay Road. And it was a little buggy. Maybe not quite as bad as yesterday afternoon, but bad enough. If you want to get water from the creek at Cecil Bay Road, the creek comes up before the road. Wonderful bridge. You probably could lower a bucket into the creek from the bridge if you're careful about it. I wasn't successful myself, but I'm not good at those sorts of things. I don't think you'd want to climb down to the creek. The banks looked pretty steep to me, but maybe they're not as bad as they look. So I had to get water later on. Ended up being a little parched. There is water later on, a few miles further on, probably about, I'd say 2.5 miles on, you pass by a pond right near the solitary campsite, right on the NCT. Would have been a great place for my power nap if I'd only known it was there. It's probably about 2:30 or 3 o'clock, and my eyes just weren't staying open. I was just tired. I hadn't slept well the previous 2 nights. And I just tired, so I sat down on the trail and leaned up against my pack and closed my eyes. I'm not really sure I can say I slept, but we'll call it a power nap. And certainly within 100 yards of where I was resting, had I only known there was that campsite there, I could have gone off the trail and stretched out properly. Oh well. You continue on and walk down the dirt road, some county road. Going their way goes towards Mount Nebo. And I met a day hiker, the one person I met today. He's out doing a road trip through Michigan, having a good time. And we parted ways, and he zoomed on ahead. And eventually I made it to this conglomeration of campgrounds all along the shore of Lake Michigan, down by Goose Pond. And I thought I'd be able to get in touch with somebody and get a site taken care of over there, but I never found the camp host, and I couldn't find any of those little yellow phones to call ahead. I had no cell signal. Eventually I did get a cell signal, but by then and I figured something else out. I was able to get a lift, fortunately, from a couple. They were intrigued by the fact that there's somebody backpacking out here, and backpacking the North Country Trail, and wow, that's different. And they gave me a lift to the main registration office, a good 2 miles back the way I'd just been. So I took care of that and started walking back to this campground, and I actually overshot. And thanks to Andy being very helpful, hail Andy Midas, he told me where I screwed up, what to do, and I more or less figured that out on my own, but, having the confirmation is wonderful. So back I went, adding more walking to my walking. This is supposed to be about a 9-mile day, and I'm sure it was ended up, after all said and done, being closer to 11, if not a bit more. And the tops of my shoulders are really letting me know about it. I don't recall having this problem at Pictured Rocks with this pack, so something's different. It's a bit heavier, but it shouldn't be that much heavier. But my shoulders hurt, right on the top. But that's the way it goes, I guess. I found my way to Pines Campground, and where I entered, I was going through a campsite. And there were 2 guys there, and they were curious about what I was doing, and so rude not to talk to them. And they offered me a beer, a Founder's Mosaic Promise, and I was very happy to drink that. It was very tasty. Also probably helped rehydrate me a little bit. So we talked for a while, and really I probably shouldn't have, because we did talk for quite a while, and by the time we called it a night, they were going to go over to Headlands State Park, which is a dark sky park, and watch the meteors, or try to, but with a full moon, I don't know if they'll have much luck. It was twilight, and I still had to set up my tent and do something about dinner and all that good stuff. Find the privy. I wish I felt up to actually taking full advantage of the bathroom here. They've got a full shower, but I'm just, no, not going to happen. After all, I want to get a good night's sleep, because tomorrow I've got to figure out first how to get back to the NCT. I've got to figure out where Red Pines Trail is from here. And then obviously you're going to be retracing my steps a little bit. Maybe not too much, but some, to get back to Goose Pond. And then from Goose Pond, it's about a 13.5, 14-mile day to where I need to end up. So tomorrow's going to be a long one, and I'm hoping it goes without incident, but, well, Let's hope. Let's hope. Once again, thanks to Andy Midas for all the help, and Mark and Eric for the wonderful trail magic, and, good conversation. That made the end of the day far better than it otherwise would have been. Oh dear. The trail goes up, and I imagine over that hill in front of me. Oh dear. Whatever enjoyment I derived at the Lakeview trailhead parking lot is gone. Besides, that joy was marred by the fact that I seem to have dropped my protective clear glasses, and I don't know where they are. I think they floated out to sea. Oh, the trail's kicking my butt. Praise the trail builders. They didn't go up it. They just went up a little ways. Oh boy. Well, I'm glad there's this bench here, because it gives me a chance to gaze out on a view. Granted, all I see are trees in this gap, but it's nice enough. There's a breeze, and there's a bench. Up, down, up, down, up, down for the last mile and a half. Maybe none of the hills are particularly large. Maybe 50 feet's probably the biggest, but oh boy. Wiped out. Still got 6 miles to go. A little more probably. Oh boy. If I ran into somebody at the parking lot and they offered me a ride to a place with a bed, proper bed, I think I'd take them up on it. Even though I've only been out for 2 days, it feels like a lot longer. Is it because I'm that out of shape? Or is it because I'm solo? Or is it both? Oh, boy. I'm glad I'm under this roof in this woodshed and out in the Solplex on the little verge of the boat launch at Camp Lake. This has turned out to be quite the day. Highs and lows. I left camp this morning at Wilderness State Park, the Pines Campground, just after 9 a.m. I seem to have lost my stuff sack for the Z-Packs Soloplex. I don't know where it is. Couldn't find it anywhere. It's probably in the campsite somewhere, along with the micro USB charging cable, which I need to charge the InReach, whose battery is low. I think I left it on. I know I left it on inadvertently overnight one night. Maybe I did it too. Maybe it wasn't fully charged, but it's very low now, and it's definitely not going to make it to. I don't think it's going to make it to Petowskey. So that's unfortunate. That's bad management on my part. That shouldn't have happened. That battery should be good for many, many days, even if you turn tracking on. But I screwed up. So those are lows. The hiking in Wilderness State Park wasn't bad. It wasn't spectacular, but it wasn't bad. A little buggy again, but nice enough hiking. And eventually, you pop out at the Lakeview trailhead, and there's a beach right there. Very nice little beach. There was a few cars present. I only saw one family. There must have been others goofing around on the beach and just resting. And I spent time enough there to get water and admire the view, but didn't really spend quality time there beyond that, which is a bit of a shame because it was a nice beach. It's not a very big beach, but it's nice enough. And then it's back to the hiking, and the next major point is Sturgeon Bay trailhead, and that's about, I think, 2.5 miles from the Lakeview trailhead. But up and down and up and down and up and down, and you work your way through the hills, the very heavily forested hills. There's one little view at a bench about a mile from Sturgeon Bay trailhead. It's a view of the forest. So, not a great view. Right? Eventually got that done. The next goal was Camp Lake. And then first the dam, crossing the stream that flows out of Camp Lake, and then the boat launch, and then to wherever. And the hiking to Camp Lake was pretty uneventful. Pretty easy hiking, good treadway, good trail. I was really pretty tired, but it was good hiking. And then, lows. The trail at Camp Lake snuggles up but doesn't get onto the road itself. There's a dirt road. Why they had to have the trail just snuggle up to the road and pop out onto it now and again too, or so it seems. I don't understand. And on the map, I can't tell that they're not the same. I think Andy even has a hard time judging it. So I screwed up, and I followed the road, and I lost the trail, and had to find my way back, and that took some time. Andy got involved in the act, and I'd send him my location data, and he said, "Yeah, well, if you go this way," and his directions were very helpful. And I got back on the trail, and eventually I found my way to the dam. Hallelujah, the dam! I wasn't going to try to get water there. I mean, you could do it by lowering a bucket on a line, but not worth the effort. So back on the trail I went. And again, there's a lot of dirt roads in the area, a lot of two tracks, and the trail kind of snuggles up to them and then moves away and snuggles back up and moves away, and I lost it. And so I come on back looking for the trail, and I never did actually find it, but I found an alternate route just using the two tracks. Again, Andy had advice to give, and I'm sure that my way on the two tracks took a lot longer, and of course there's all the stress of, where the hell am I? And I want to be done. I'm tired, and it's going to get dark soon, and it's just a bunch of mishigas. Not good. Well, eventually I got to the boat landing. It must have been well past 8. And you know what? I never took a picture of the landing, when I got there. Oh, well. There was a fellow, there was a pickup. So there was someone out on the lake, and I could hear an engine puttering away as I was getting ready to set my tent up in the only possible spot you could, on a verge off the hard-packed 2-track. Hopefully it would work. But the guy in the boat came back, and we got talking, and he said, I live not far from the trail in the direction you're going, and if you'd like to, it's gonna probably rain, and if you'd like to just use one of my woodshed and shelter for that, under that, you're more than welcome to. To which I said yes. So I packed up all my stuff and got in Richard's pickup truck, and we drove to his property, which really is, in fact, not at all that far from where I would have camped anyway, if I had actually been able to get there. And he's been a very gracious host. So that's definitely a high. A wonderful host, clearly a good guy. So a day of highs and a day of lows, but in the end, it ended on a high point. So we have to give it the highs to wind, not the wind. But I am really tired, and tomorrow is a 16 odd mile day, And I know, should be a quicker day because road walking for over half of it. But that just means there's more opportunities to screw up and miss trail turnings. So we'll just have to see what we'll see. I hope it goes well. I really do. I'd really like to have a day without trouble. Maybe tomorrow will be that day. I hope you've enjoyed part 1 of this 2-part series. Up next, we hike the remaining distance to Petowskey, Michigan.